Hi everyone, welcome back to our science class. So, I hope you all have gone through the topics I have already taught you in the previous class. I think so. Anyway, we will memorize whatever we have studied already. So, we were dealing with the first chapter in our science textbook, that is crop production and management. We discussed first about crops. What are crops? Crops are the plants of the same kind cultivated in a particular area. Then we studied about the different types of crops. Which were they? That cereal crops, pulse crops, vegetation crops, then oil crops, fiber crops, plantation crops, etc. Then we discussed about the classification of crops on the basis of their season they are cultivated. Which were they? Yes, they can be classified into three types. They are kharif crops, rabi crops and zaid crops. What are kharif crops? The kharif crops are generally cultivated during the rainy season. Can you say when does the rainy season falls in India? Yes, it is from the period of June to September. So, kharif crops are generally cultivated during the period from June to September. Can you give some example? Paddy, maize, etc. are examples. Then we discussed about rabi crops. What are rabi crops? Rabi crops are the crops that are cultivated during the winter season. That is usually from the period of October to March. That is the winter season in northern part of India. From the period of October to March, the rabi crops are cultivated. Examples are mustard, wheat, etc. Then comes the zaid crops. The zaid crops are generally cultivated during the summer season, that is from the period of March to June. So, this is the classification based on the month of cultivation or the period of cultivation. Which are they? Kharif crops, rabi crops and the zaid crops. Then we discussed about the basic agricultural practices that we follow while cultivating or while doing the process of agriculture. Which were they? Yes, the first one was the preparation of the soil, then sowing the seeds, then adding manures and fertilizers. The next step was irrigation. After irrigation, we have to remove the weeds and unwanted plants. Then harvesting, and the last step is storage. So, these were the basic agricultural practices, and we discussed about the preparation of soil in detail. Which was the importance of preparing soil, or what is the importance of preparing soil? Yes, the preparation of soil helps to make the soil loose. Loosening of soil is the most important motive of preparing the soil. If the soil is loose, it helps in the penetration of roots deep into the soil. It also increases the percolation rate of water. What is percolation rate? It is the sweeping in of rainwater deep into the soil. So, loosening the soil helps to increase the percolation rate of water. Then it helps in the growth of microbes and earthworm. The microbes helps in converting the dead matter into humus, and earthworm also helps to keep the soil moist and loose. So, all these are the importance of preparing the soil before cultivating. Then we discussed about the tools used for preparing the soil. Which were they? Yes, plough, hoe and cultivator. I wanted you to draw the picture of this plough and hoe in your notebook also. I hope everyone has done that. So, now we will go to our next topic, that is the second step in the process of agriculture, or the second procedure of the basic agricultural practice, and that is sowing. This is the second step. This is sowing. What do you mean by sowing? Sowing is the process of putting seed into the soil. That is the process of adding seed into the soil is called sowing. What is seed? Yes, seed is the part of the plant which carries the baby plant inside it. We can see the baby plant inside the seed. We have studied in lower classes about the structure of seed. Then the seed carry the baby plant, and also we have studied that for the germination of the seeds, that is for a baby plant to come out of the seed, it requires three important factors. Which were they? Which are the three important factors needed for the germination of seeds? Yes, air, water and warmth. It should get proper air circulation, it should get proper water, and also sunlight is also needed for the germination of a seed into a new plant. So, here we are going to discuss about the process of sowing, and before sowing what has to be done? We have to select good quality seeds. How can we select a good quality seed, or how can we find out whether the given seed is a good one or a bad one? Earlier, what the farmers used to do is that they will put the seeds into water. They will put the seed into a bucket of water or something, and what will happen if they put the seed into the water? What will happen? If the seed is of good quality, it will sink to the bottom of the bucket. That is, it will sink to the bottom of the water, and the bad seeds, that is the damaged seeds, will float on the surface of water. In this way, we can separate the good quality seeds and the damaged seeds. The seeds that sink to the bottom of the bucket are of good quality, and that floats on the surface are damaged seeds. Once they select the good quality seeds, they have to sow the seeds into the soil. Now we are going to discuss about the techniques used for sowing the seeds. Generally, two types of methods were used. One is traditional method. Traditional method. What is the traditional method used? Traditionally, they used a device which looks like a funnel. Do you know what is funnel? I hope everyone has seen this funnel. So, through this funnel, they used to sow the seeds. How the seeds can be put inside the funnel, and this tail of the funnel is sharp. It is very sharp, and this tail can pierce the soil by make holes. It pierces the soil and make holes, and through this mouth of the funnel, the seeds goes down and it reaches the soil, and in this way the sowing was done traditionally. Now we use seed drills. Seed drills. Have you heard about seed drills? They are device used for sowing the seeds. It can be attached at the back of a tractor and can be used for sowing the seeds. Actually, using seed drills is more advantageous or more comfortable than this traditional method, because when we use the seed drills, it helps in the proper placement of the seeds. It helps to maintain equal distance from each individual seed. What will happen if too many seeds fall on the same place? The plants will get crowded in one place, which may deprive the plants from proper nutrients. So, by using a seed drill, we can sow the seeds equidistant from one another, and thereby maintaining proper distance between each plant. And this is very important, because if too many seeds grow in a single place, that plants may be deprived of nutrients, may get deprived of the important nutrients. So, we have to maintain proper distance, and this is convenient, and this can be made easy by using cultivators and by using seed drills. Now, after sowing the seeds properly, what we have to do? What is the third step? Yes, it is adding manures and fertilizer. So, we are completed with sowing. What is the first step? That is selecting good quality seeds. Once good quality seeds are selected, what happens? We can sow the seeds using traditional method or by using seed drills. That is, seed drills are attached to tractors. Now we will discuss about adding manures and fertilizers. That is the third step. Adding manures and fertilizers. What are manures and fertilizers? We know that for the plants to grow, it needs some essential nutrients like nitrogen, potassium, sulfur, etc. Also, it needs many other nutrients. All these nutrients may not be present in the soil, because soil may be of different texture at different areas. So, we have to check the quality of the soil, and after checking the quality only, we need to add the manures and fertilizers. And this process of adding manures and fertilizers is called replenishing the soil. Replenishing. What do you mean by replenishing? Means adding more nutrients. We are making the soil rich in the nutrients again. That process is called replenishing, and it can be done by adding manures and fertilizers. So, what are manures? Manures are organic substance, that is humus. The dead and decaying plants act on the can be converted into humus by the action of microorganisms. That substance is called humus, and humus is also called manure. They are organic in nature, that is they are naturally made. Then what are fertilizers? Fertilizers are artificially made substances that may be rich in a particular nutrient. For example, if we add urea, it will be rich in uric acid and all. Then we can add nitrogen, phosphor, all this can be added via fertilizers. So manures and fertilizers has to be added on a given period of time to improve the quality of the crops. So adding manures and fertilizers is the third step, that is the most important step in the basic agricultural practices. There is another method to increase the soil fertility, that is we can rotate the crops. What do you mean by rotating the crops? Rotation of crops, you may have heard about it, right? Rotation of crops. What do you mean by rotation of crops? That means if we are cultivating or planting the same crop again and again in a particular area, that soil may get deprived of a particular nutrient. Why? This is because for the growth of plants, similarly it is like animals, like for what is the energy giving food for us, it is proteins. Then bodybuilding, we have nutrients can be divided into different types, like bodybuilding food, energy giving food. Then for increasing the immunity, all this we need different nutrients. Which increases the immunity? Vitamins. Vitamins helps in increasing the immunity. Proteins are called energy giving food. So all these are different types of nutrients, and all these are required for the proper growth. Similarly, in the case of plants also, they need a particular type of nutrient. So some crop may need more of nitrogen, but in the case of some other crops it may need more phosphorus. So when we plant the same substance again and again, or the same type of crop again and again, what will happen? The soil will get deprived of that particular nutrient. So in order to maintain the balance of the soil texture, we can rotate the crops. That is, once if we are planting paddy, next time we can try some other crop in the same field. If we do this, we can rotate the crops, and thus we can maintain the balance of the soil texture. So for that purpose we do the rotation of crops, or crop rotation is done. So this is about adding fertilizers and manures. Now we will discuss about the advantages of using manures over fertilizer. I already told you that manure is a natural substance, that is organic in nature, but what about fertilizer? It is artificially made, right? It is prepared artificially. So naturally, what are the advantages of using manure? One is it is natural in nature, that is it will be eco-friendly. What do you mean by eco-friendly? Eco-friendly means it will not do any harm to the nature. It will be useful for the nature, or it is not creating any hardness for the nature. So the process of adding manures, it is more advantageous because the manures are eco-friendly. Instead of using fertilizers, we can use more manures. Then the second advantage is that it will not affect the texture of the soil. The soil texture will not be damaged when we use more manures than fertilizers. Another advantage is it helps to make the soil porous. What do you mean by porous? What are pores? Pores are small openings, right? Similarly, porous means it makes the soil loose, which helps in the penetration of air and water. Then also adding manure which helps the growth of microorganisms. The microorganisms can survive easily because manures are natural, while adding fertilizers may damage the existence of microorganisms. So these are the advantages of manures. Which are they? Yes, first one is, what was the first advantage I discussed? The advantages of manures over fertilizers is that first one is it is natural. It is natural, that is it is organic, which means it is eco-friendly. It is natural and eco-friendly. Then the second advantage is it maintains soil texture. It maintains the soil texture. Then the third advantage is supports growth of microorganisms. It supports the growth of microorganisms. Then it keeps the soil porous. That is, makes it loose for the air and water to penetrate. So these are the advantages of manure over fertilizers. First one, it is natural and eco-friendly, that is, does not do any harm to the nature. Second is, it maintains the soil texture. It will not affect the soil texture since it is natural. Then it supports the growth of microorganisms, that is, the growth of microorganisms in the soil is very essential for the preparation of humus and making the soil warm and moist and cool. Then it also helps to maintain the soil porous, that is, if it is porous, it will be easy for the air and water to penetrate deep into the soil. These are the advantages of adding manures and fertilizers. Now we will go to the next process or the next basic agricultural practice, that is irrigation. Irrigation. What do you mean by irrigation? What is irrigation? Irrigation is the process of adding water to the plants. The process of supplying water to the plants is called irrigation, and it is the most important step because we have studied that for preparing the food through photosynthesis and also for the development of plants it needs water. If the crop is not planted in a place where there is water supply or rich water supply, we have to give water or water the plants artificially, and that process is called irrigation. The process of watering the plants artificially is called irrigation. What is irrigation? It is the process of watering the plants artificially. Then irrigation techniques, earlier we used to water using a pulley system, then we used some natural systems, but now there are mainly two types of irrigation system. First one is sprinkler system. Sprinkler system of irrigation. Then drip irrigation. These are the two main types of irrigation system we are practicing. First one is drip irrigation and then the sprinkler irrigation. In sprinkler irrigation, what we do is that we use a series of tubes or a series of tubes, and through these tubes the water may be supplied, and with the help of small openings they can be sprayed into the plants just like rain. That process is called sprinkler system. In drip irrigation also there will be a series of tubes, and in this method what we do is that we will make the water fall at the root area or root zone of the plants. That process is called a drip irrigation. So these are the main two irrigational practices we follow. One is sprinkler system and the other is drip irrigation. So before winding up the class, I would like to recall what we have studied today. We studied about the three important practices used for agriculture. The first one we discussed in the last class, that is preparation of the soil. Then we discussed about sowing, then adding manures and fertilizers, and we discussed about irrigation also. So before coming to the next class, I want everyone to be thorough with whatever I have taught till now. Thank you.